everyone, Nick Farrow here again with English Discovery, and this lesson has an emphasis on writing. It's all about getting the sequence right. Now first, in case you don't understand this word, it's better to stop and check it. So, when we are writing and also speaking, it's important for us to connect our ideas clearly for people to understand what we want to say. Time sequence is most important when telling a story, giving an explanation, and also when we give instructions. These starting words about time provide very helpful signals for your reader or your listener to understand what you want to tell them. But style also is important here. Now, beginning sentences just like this doesn't give enough information to your reader or listener to see what's going on. But here are just 4 expressions that are really useful to give a basic sequence of ideas. And here's one more to finish. There's no strongly fixed rule about the order that you use, particularly for these two. You can pretty much mix them anytime. But please notice that the word "and" does not appear at the beginning of any sentence. Cut and use these for a much better style. Let's look at a simple sample of writing. It's just a very short story. Very easy. Let's read it together. My wife and I had a pleasant time together last Saturday. First, we went shopping and had lunch. Next, we walked along the river and ate ice cream. Then we watched a movie. After that, we went to a cafe and had some coffee. Finally, we went home by taxi. This is not a conversation style, this is a writing style. Next, some more ideas about time and sequence of events. Here are some detailed time phrases. And these phrases show when things happened. And following these time phrase signals is the normal subject and verb pattern that we see in most regular sentences. Let's see some of these time phrases again in this short piece of writing. My wife and I had a pleasant time together last Saturday. In the morning, we went shopping and had lunch. In the afternoon, we walked along the river and ate ice cream. Then we watched a movie. In the evening, we went to a cafe and had some coffee. At about 10 o'clock, we went home by taxi. Okay? Now the next slide is a little more complicated. You're going to see 4 sentences. And you can now see that they all begin with the same time phrase. When is a conjunction, and the phrase "when we got to the hotel" describes the situation or event, or as it says here, topic or the time. This is now complemented by the main part of the sentence, which may be a simple comment, or it could be the action that follows. Here's another way to say the same thing, but we've changed the conjunction when for the conjunction and. In English, we often put the topic near the end of the sentence. Generally, it's easier to hear that way. But in fact, we can also write this sentence this way, and the grammar is still perfect. But what's the topic now? Is it here, the same comment? Or is it at the end of the sentence, changing the topic? Don't go crazy about this. You cannot usually make a big mistake because the meaning will be understandable in both patterns. Next, let's look at a few short points to be careful for when you're writing. Watch out for this mistake. After that, we have learned is connecting to the sentence before. It means after doing the previous action. That's fine. Here's an example. I went home. After that, I had a bath. The order, the sequence is very clear. First home, second bath. But watch out for this mistake. I did X after I did Y. It's not after, it's after that. Otherwise, the meaning changes completely. After sounds like a conjunction. It sounds like I had a bath first and then went home. And that's the opposite meaning. So this is a dangerous mistake to make. Stay with the expression after that. Here's the second warning point. You should not begin a sentence with and, especially in a formal report. Also, be careful with so. If you are joining two simple ideas, use a small letter. Only when the sentence would become very long, maybe over 15 words, it may be okay to start a new sentence with so. Point number 3. Two sentences, same in content. But is there a difference? How about these two? In every case, the grammar is correct, but there is a slight change in meaning. We'll check this in detail in a minute. you can see that the part of the sentence with after is about when we sat at the pool. And the second case is the same. Before I could get on my bike is about when the dog bit me. What's important to understand is the sequence. We had lunch first, then we sat by the pool. And this is the same for both these sentences. In both cases, after we had lunch tells us when we sat by the pool. Everything is the same for the examples at the bottom, but before tells us about the time sequence differently. There it is. So, what about the meaning difference between the two forms? This is a little difficult, so please don't worry if you don't understand clearly the first time. Let's look at the main focus point of each sentence. As I said before, generally in English, the main focus point is usually near the end of the sentence. If you imagine the question, what did you do after you had lunch? Then you might expect the answer to focus on that. We sat by the pool. In the same way, if the question were, when did you sit by the pool? Then the focus of the answer is after we had lunch. Look at the second two sentences and see that the focus is on the end of the sentence. Listen to how I say them. Before I could get on my bike, the dog bit me. Second sentence. The dog bit me before I could get on my bike. You can hear the emphasis is on the end of the sentence. That's the important point. And many times in speaking, that's the way we understand the main point. Another of my videos explains this point in more detail. I'll put the link at the end of this lesson. Okay, and this is the end of the lesson already. No, it's not. I lied. Okay, this is the last point, I promise. When writing a formal report, be careful about the word then. It does not equal also. In most cases, then is only about the time sequence. Here's an example that is not so clear. In this kind of writing, it's better to use also or in addition. Don't use then. It sounds like you're talking about something developing over time. Okay, now we've really reached the end. If you want to know more about those complicated points, please follow the link to a video called Conjugations Deeper Study Part 2. Give me a thumbs up and I'll see you in another lesson.